Hello, everyone. Today we're going to explore one of the most useful topics in physics: work, energy, power, and the conservation of energy. So grab your notebook, get your calculator ready, and let's unlock the physics behind work, energy, and power. So every day, we lift bags, ride bicycles, play sports, and use machines. Physics helps explain how much work is done, how much energy is used, and how quickly work is completed. Okay, so our learning competency is to calculate work done by an applied force, the power generated in practical situations such as engineering and sports science. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to define work, energy, and power, solve numerical problems involving these quantities, explain the law of conservation of energy, and apply this concept to practical situations. So in physics, work has a very specific meaning. So work is done only when a force causes an object to move in the direction of that force. Simply applying force without causing displacement does not count as work. So we calculate work using the equation W is equal to FD cosine theta, where force, displacement, and the angle between them all affect the result. Work is therefore a measure of how effectively a force produces motion. In the International System of Units, or SI, the unit of work is the joule. It is represented by the letter symbol J. 1 joule is defined as the amount of work done when a force of 1 Newton moves an object 1 meter in the direction of the force. So mathematically, we write this as 1 J is equal to 1 Newton meter. Although the joule has the same unit as the Newton meter, remember that this context it specifically refers to the energy or work, not torque. Okay, not all work has the same effect. So let's begin with positive work. Positive work happens when the applied force and the object displacement are, take note, in the same direction. So, for example, when you push a shopping cart forward and it moves forward, the force you apply helps the object move. Since the force supports the motion, the work done is positive. Positive work usually increases an object's energy. Okay, next is negative work. This occurs when the force acts in the opposite direction of the object's motion. A common example is the braking system of a bicycle or a car. While the vehicle is moving forward, the frictional force from the brakes acts backward, slowing it down. Because the force opposes the motion, the work done by the braking force is negative. Negative work removes energy from the moving object, causing it to slow down. Okay, finally, we have what we call zero work. Zero work occurs when there is no displacement, or, take note of this, when the force is perpendicular to the direction of motion. So imagine holding a heavy backpack while standing still. Even though your exert force upward to support the backpack, it does not move. Since there is no displacement, the work done on the backpack is zero. Okay, before we continue our discussion, can we ask a small favor? If you're finding this video helpful, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So thank you so much. Let's solve our first numerical example together. So a worker pushes a box with a force of 80 newtons, causing it to move 5 meters in the same direction as the applied force. Our goal is to calculate the work done. The first step is to identify the given values. The force is 80 newton and the displacement is 5 meters. And since the force and displacement are in the same direction, the angle between them is 0 degree. Because cosine 0 equals 1, the equation becomes very simple. Work is equal to force times distance. Substituting the values, W is equal to 80 Newton multiplied by 5 meters. You will be getting the value W is equal to 400 joules. This means that worker transfer 400 joules of energy to the box while pushing it. Notice that increasing either the force or the distance would result in more work being done. This relationship is important in engineering, where designers calculate how much work machine must perform to move heavy objects efficiently. Okay, let's apply what we have learned to a real-life situation. At first, many people would answer that the waiter is doing work because carrying the tray requires effort. However, in physics, we need to use scientific definition of work. So remember that work is calculated using the equation W is equal to FD cosine theta, where theta is the angle between the applied force and the object's displacement. So in this situation, the waiter applies the upward force to support the tray against the gravity. While the tray moves horizontally across the restaurant, this means that the angle between the force and the displacement is 90 degrees. Since cosine 90 degrees is equal to 0, the equation becomes W is equal to F 12 12 meter multiplied by 0 is equal to 0 joule. Therefore, the work done by the waiter on the tray is 0 joule. These examples remind us that in physics, work depends not only on the amount of force applied, but also on the direction of the force relative to the object's motion. Now that we understand work, let's move on to another fundamental concept in physics, energy. Energy is defined as the ability to do work. In other words, if an object or system has energy, it has the capacity to cause change or produce motion. Like work, energy is measured in joules. Energy exists in many different forms. One of the most familiar is mechanical energy, which includes the energy of moving objects and objects positioned at different heights. Another is electrical energy, which powers our appliances, gadgets, and electronic devices. We also have chemical energy, stored in food, fuel, and batteries. Thermal energy is associated with heat and the motion of particles, while nuclear energy is stored within the nucleus of an atom and is released in nuclear reaction. These different forms of energy can be transformed from one form to another. For example, when you eat food, your body converts chemical energy into mechanical energy that allows your muscle to move. In hydroelectric power plant, the gravitational potential energy of stored water changes into kinetic energy as it flows and then into electrical energy through turbines and generators. Okay, let's proceed to another topic, which is the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of an object possessed because of its motion. The faster an object moves or the greater its mass, the more kinetic energy it has. So what we calculate kinetic energy using this formula. So please take note of this formula. Ke is equal to 1 half mv squared, where m is the mass and the v is the velocity of the object. Notice that the velocity is squared, which means even a small increase in speed greatly increases kinetic energy. Examples include a moving car, a rolling basketball, or a sprinter running toward the finish line. Okay, so let's proceed with another type of energy, which is potential energy. Potential energy is the energy stored an object because of its position or height above the ground. Okay, so the formula for gravitational potential energy is PE is equal to mgh, where m is the mass, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height. Okay, take note of this. The higher an object is lifted, the more potential energy it stores. This stored energy can later be converted into kinetic energy when the object begins to move. Okay, let's solve another example involving gravitational potential energy. A 15-kilogram toolbox is lifted onto a platform 8 meters above the ground, and we are asked to find its gravitational potential energy. Using the formula PE is equal to mgh, we substitute the given values. PE is equal to 15 kilograms, and then g is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared, and then we are going to multiply that with 8 meter, and the result is 1176 joule. Therefore, the toolbox has 1176 joule of gravitational potential energy, which is stored because of its elevated position and can be converted into kinetic energy if the toolbox falls. So engineers apply the concept of work, energy, and power when designing structures, machines, and transportation system. Hydroelectric dams also use the conversion of potential energy into electrical energy to generate electricity. Okay, again, let's go back to our previous example. If the toolbox falls, this gravitational potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. This conversion of energy is an excellent example of the law of conservation energy, where energy changes form, but the total energy remains constant, assuming negligible air resistance. Physics is also an important tool in sports science because it helps improve athletic performance. So coaches and sports scientists analyze the work done, energy used, and power generated by athletes using different activities. So let's say, for example, weightlifters perform work by lifting heavy barbells, while cyclists generate power by pedaling over time. By measuring these quantities, athletes can train more efficiently and reduce the risk of injury. Physics, therefore, plays an important role in maximizing both performance and safety in sports. Okay, this is our next topic, power. Power is the rate at which work is done or energy is transferred over time. It tells us not only how much work is done, but also how quickly the work is completed. The formula for power is P is equal to work divided by time. The SI unit of power is the watt. Okay, it is named after the Scottish engineer James Watt. A machine that performs the same amount of work in less time has greater power. Okay, let's solve another problem involving power. An electric motor performs 4,800 joules of work in 12 seconds. And we need to determine its average power. Using the formula power is equal to work divided by time, we substitute the given values. P is equal to 4,800 joules divided by 12 seconds equal to 400 watts. Therefore, the motor generates an average power of 400 watts, which means it does 400 joules of work every second. This example shows that power tells us not just how much work is done, but how quickly the work is completed. Okay, so there are several misconceptions about work and energy that students should avoid. First, many people think that heavier objects always require more work, but the amount of work also depends on the distance moved and the direction of the applied force. Second, feeling tired or sweating does not necessarily mean more mechanical work is done because the human body uses energy when no mechanical work is performed on an object. Finally, simply holding a heavy object while standing still does not count as mechanical work because there is no displacement. Understanding the scientific definition of work helps us correctly analyze real-life situations using physics principles. Okay, so let us review the important ideas from today's lesson. Work is done when a force causes an object to move in the direction of the applied force, while energy is the ability to do work and power is the rate at which work is done. You also learned that kinetic energy is associated with motion, potential energy is stored due to position, and mechanical energy is the sum of both. The law of conservation of energy states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but only transformed from one form to another. These concepts are essential in engineering, sports science, transportation, and many technologies that improve our daily lives. So that's it for today. Thank you so much and God bless everyone.